As you have seen, methods are very important, and in this lecture I want to talk about them in more depth. First of all, I want to talk about parameters. As you see, parameters are declared just like variables, but we don't initialize these variables. These are just placeholders for the value we put in them. When we put a value into a parameter, it passes down to the block of code of that method. In this case, the string called name passes down and we can use it with this name. Don't think that this is fixed. I can change it to A and then I could use it with the name A. And it would be practically the same, okay? None of this is fixed. We can change the names. Now I want to explore a little bit the concept of the constructor, okay? The constructor normally is used to initialize the fields. And what does that mean? Well, it means that in this block of code, we will initialize these three variables right here. Why? Because we have to call this method every time we want a new object, and it's logical to initialize all the variables with constructor parameters. First of all, we can create as many parameters as we please. First, specify the type, and we have created a parameter. Now another one. We need an int called I and a double called D. This parameter will initialize this field right here, this parameter, this other field, and finally this other parameter will initialize this field right here. And we would do that just like this. Okay, nothing new here, I'm just setting the value of each field with its corresponding parameter. Now you can see right here that I have an error in the first sample.java class. Why? Because I have changed the constructor. The constructor now requires three parameters, and how many parameters I'm passing to this book constructor? 0. So Java just throws an error. To fix the problem, I need to pass down those three parameters in order. Which are those parameters? Well, I need a string, I need an int, and I need a double. So for now, I will delete this line and this other line, this and this. Now I will not need setters to initialize those values, because I can do that directly by passing those values as parameters to the constructor. So the name of this book will be, and how many pages it has? Well, I don't know how many pages this book has, but I will guess 250. And finally, I need a weight, and I will say whatever, right? It's just a double, so I can pass whatever I want. I don't know how much it weighs, and I don't even know which metric is this. I don't know if these are pounds, kilos. Okay, so now I have created the book called B, which name is The Black Swan. It has 250 pages and it weighs 2.5 unknown metric system. Okay, so we can do exactly the same for the other book. And we just have to change the required stuff. The other book was Think and Grow Rich. And how many pages does it have? Well, I will say 150, and it weighs 1.5 in the unknown metric system. And now we are done, and we don't need to set any more values. If I were to set a value right now, it would override the previous value. So for example, I can take the object A and I can set its name to A, okay? And now I pass that value, I pass that value to the console. When I click on the run button, I see that its value is A, because you have to think that the program goes line by line. So in line 9, you are setting the field name to Think and Grow Rich. But 2 lines below that, you are resetting its value to A. So the value that you are printing is this one right here, because this order comes later. I think you already understand that this is the same method as this one. But this is where we describe how the method behaves, and this is where we use the method. These are the 2 phases of the method. One where we declare the method, and the other where we use it. I just wanted to point out the difference. Finally, I must talk about one more thing, and that is, I have said many times now that the program, when you click on the run button, goes and finds the main method and then executes it line by line. So when you click on the run button, it goes to the line 6, 7, and then in the line 7, it finds the constructor method. When it finds a method, it goes to that class, it finds the method, and then executes it line by line right here. So when the program finds a method, it jumps to that method and executes its content. This is important because we can make really cool stuff with this. For example, here I have a new method I have not yet declared, and Eclipse indicates me something. If I click, I see the option create method print message, and this creates a new method. It's private, it's a static, something we will see in the next lecture. It's void, it does not return anything, and its name is print message. What does this mean? Well, when the program reaches line 15, it jumps to this method. Why do we need something like this? Because if we write all the code in the main method, it can become messy in no time. So this is a way to separate different functions, different sets of actions into different places. So I could use this right here to print out the messages to console, for example. It could take, I don't know, a book, and I pass the book called A, and then the system out print line will go in here, and when I click on the run button, I see that it works. So this is the way that methods are used. Now you know about parameters and how to use them appropriately. Now you know that a program, when it finds a method, it jumps to it to execute its content. And that's basically it. In the next lecture, we will talk about what does static mean, because we have been using it all along, but we don't know its meaning yet. So practice a lot and see you in the next lecture.